everybody. Welcome to Back Issues. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Ben.
Star Wars! It's coming out on Friday!
Like, I guess tonight?
Yes. If you're watching this now, it's coming out tonight.
Yeah.
I'm already there watching it. And I'm freaking out about it.
Yeah.
I promised I wouldn't.
Freak out about it?
Yeah. And then I got into Firefly, which, you know how that turned out. I wanted to talk about Star Wars in comic book form, because it's been in comic book form since the movies.
Oh, yeah.
Since, like, the 80s.
Oh, there's tons of books.
Oh, and there's a million novels,
Yep.
and a zillion comics, and spin-offs, and tie-ins, and
There's a
whatnot.
couple omnibuses.
Oh, yeah. They're
This was
ridiculously
like a third of them.
Yeah.
And it was like that big.
Oh,
or
yeah.
bigger.
When the original Star Wars came out, Marvel had the Star Wars license. They released a whole assload of Star Wars comics.
Yeah. That was the omnibus I said. It was like the
Oh, the
Marvel
Marvel,
run.
yeah.
And it was huge.
Yeah.
I'm like, I thought it was a Dark Horse.
Yeah, it was. Well, Dark
not
Horse got
for
the
a while.
license, later. And then they put out some crazy great books, like Dark Empire, stuff like that.
My first exposure, actually my only exposure to the Star Wars comics.
The Droids book?
No, it was when plot lines from the comics were referenced in the novels that I was reading. And I was like, when Luke friggin' becomes the Emperor's the resurrected Emperor clone's apprentice.
Yeah.
What the crap are you talking about? I read all these books. That never happened.
Mm-hmm. No, it happened in the comic.
No.
Yeah, you missed it. It's a great comic, by the way.
Yeah.
But we're not doing that one today. Actually saw a trade of the current running John Cassidy Star Wars comic that takes place in the rebooted continuity. Mm-hmm. And I was like, ooh, I could get that, because I read it, and I don't have it in collected form, I have it in digital. I'm like, I picked that up. We could get right on board and be like, here's what happened. Now let's do a book from 20 years ago. I thought we'd talk about Shadows of the Empire. This book came out in 1996.
Nice.
So almost 20 years ago.
Shadows of the Empire?
Shadows of the Empire.
The book. Also
I played
known
a
as the
video game.
Also known as the other book.
Yeah, I played a video game on N64 that was Shadows of the Empire.
You did.
Yeah, a great
and
game.
you read the novel.
And I read the novel.
Well, now read the comic, because this was... I just actually watched the teaser that they released on TV, like a commercial for this, where it was called a multimedia event.
Oh, God,
They
yeah.
released it in multiple formats. So this came out simultaneous with the...
Yes.
Okay.
Each issue came out around the same time. I think the first issue came out around the same time as the novel did.
Wait, this is the same story as the novel and the game?
Technically, yes. But it's also highlighting an element that was not referenced or experienced in one of your pieces of fiction.
Oh, is it that, the character defeats IG-88 the first time around instead of dying on that board 30,000 times?
IG-88 appears once in this book, and he is not fighting Dash Rendar.
Because he appeared once in the game, and he was a fucker.
Yeah, that was really hard. I remember that game.
Well, he's a droid assassin. It should be really hard to beat.
Yeah, well, because he
much
keeps
faster reflexes.
He's also
than
a
human.
huge cheater because he keeps downloading his consciousness into his ship.
Ugh.
So, whenever you destroy him, he just re-uploads.
Just goes back to his ship.
Yeah. So
what a dick.
The idea that they had, the approach they had for Shadows was, let's do everything we would do if we were releasing a movie, except for the movie.
Right.
So
and
they
then
did
let's never release a movie or show or animated thing of any kind.
Nothing.
Even though you all want it.
Yep.
So that it follows, everything follows the same storyline. It's just we put it out already, just not a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they released a soundtrack with original music.
Did they have decorative Burger King cups that you could get?
They did not get there. They didn't get quite there, but they did the plastic statues. They did the regular action figures. There was so much connection with Shadows because, believe it or not, by 1996 they'd done practically everything. Yeah. They never told the story of what happens between Empire and Jedi.
Right.
Somehow, that just slipped through their fingers.
It's weird because it's referenced, lots of stuff is referenced in Jedi, and you're like, wait, what?
Right, like Luke has a new lightsaber. Boba Fett brought Han Solo to Jabba the Hutt, I guess. With
Leia's dressed as a thing.
Right, but who's Boosh?
Yeah. Lando's infiltrated Jabba's palace already.
Yeah.
That threw me, way the fuck up.
Yeah.
Wait, did I miss a movie?
Yeah, you did, called Shadows of the Empire. So they were like, let's make everything except for the movie, and here it is. And so they made a novel by Steve Perry, not the guy from Journey. Unless it is. I can't afford that. So But they did do this comic
What if
book.
we hum it?
That's it. That's what
Can't do that.
you have to be
You have
off
to do, like, a
key and
parody.
change the words.
We'll start.
Understanding. Look for the new single "We'll Start Understanding" by ComicPop. Shadows of the Empire, the comic book, was written by John Wagner with art by Killian Plunkett with some pickups by John Nadeau. I picked it up like halfway through the run. I was like, "What is this?" And then I went and picked up the rest of it and was like, "This is awesome." And then somebody got me this. I think my mom for Christmas. Okay, Shadows of the Empire, and fill in the gaps. By the way,
well, let's sum up just in case people have not, for some reason, seen Empire or Jedi.
Oh.
So end of
what? Well, no! If you haven't seen Empire or Jedi, watch them. Moving on.
Never mind that.
No, we can't.
Or just watch Empire and then read this
and then watch Jedi
and see if it really seamlessly works or if it doesn't.
It doesn't. But you know what's funny? There's actually elements from the comic book that visually are referenced. You know, you see them, and then they put them into the special editions.
Really? Well, special editions came out like
1997.
Right? 97. Okay.
So a year later. So there are things in the special edition of A New Hope that you see first here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It is.
I guess.
Except, they're not good. But,
do you see one of those friggin' giant things on Tatooine walking around? There's
you never see one of those dinosaurs. That robot that Vader's fighting, you see.
Oh.
In the beginning of the opening to Tatooine, there's that little floating droid that laughs at one of them and he conks it on the head.
Yeah.
That's this one. It was it's considered to be an ancient Jedi training module that allows you to lightsaber fight with an unkillable opponent.
Oh.
So
then why would a Sith have one?
Oh. Well, because he's the only one left. There's no more Jedi. So, alright, this takes place after Empire, immediately after Empire. Luke, Leia, 3PO, and R2 are looking out the window.
Oh.
And then, Crix Nadine is like, "Hey! The Empire found out where we are! We gotta move!"
Oh.
And Luke's like, "Let's go!" And he's trying to leave, and Leia's like, "You can't go anywhere, you got your hand chopped off, you got a robot hand, you know how it works!"
I'll figure it out!
He's like, "I'll figure it out!" And then he lifts his hand off the table and it looks like he crushed it.
It's all
and they're like, "You won't even be able to fly it!"
Yeah, you'll destroy the
ship! And then
just fly left-handed.
And then 3PO is like, "Oh, R2 just said that apparently your X-Wing's also been heavily damaged and needs to be repaired. So that settles it. You're not going anywhere."
Wait, go anywhere? Why don't they just get the ships in lightspeed and get out of there?
Well, they are going to do that, but they need Rogue Squadron, which is the X-Wing force of the Rebel Alliance, to go and defend the frigates from the oncoming Empire
because they have to
invaders.
calculate the jump to lightspeed.
Yeah, exactly.
So without Luke, their
minutes.
chance of success is now 0?
Oh, no, they got Wedge Antilles and
Luke
Rogue
thinks
Squadron.
that he's
indispensable because he used magic to cheat that one time and to blow up the Death Star. But in fact,
Whoa, that's not cheating.
Well, compared to pilots who train for their entire lives and learn how they work and don't just close their eyes and push a button when the ghost tells you to, these guys know what they're doing.
Okay, that's like saying that someone who does manual labor and moves rocks around all day, that Yoda is cheating by lifting them up with his...
He's cheating.
Hey, what's he do? He's a fucking cheater!
Yeah.
That's union work.
That's right. Well, he's got to,
Well, it's like when they invented the steam shovel. That was cheating compared to, guys with, manual shovels.
Except everyone can use a steam shovel and not everyone can use the Force.
Well, people who are untrained, unskilled laborers
That's
can't
true.
use a steam shovel.
That's true. Fair point.
We've got rather far.
The whole point of Shadows of the Empire is that Vader is, now that he's revealed that he's Luke Skywalker's father...
Right.
Spoilers. He,
I think you're a little late to say that.
He is obsessed with getting Luke back and bringing him back to the Emperor so he can turn him to the dark side.
Right. And then play catch.
Well, and then overthrow the Emperor.
Yeah.
No, play catch. It's what father and sons do.
That's true. So,
I assume this is just a giant metaphor for, some big father-son bonding thing.
Yeah. No.
We'll overthrow the Empire and then, maybe catch a game.
Yeah. Catch a skin flick or something, son. Yeah. So, so Luke wants to leave. He feels really lame because he just lost to Vader,
and he lost a hand,
He lost big time, and he lost Han.
Han got captured, and he just failed.
Yeah. So their plan is Vader is interested in getting Luke back, and he hires this scummy evil Han Solo type character named Jix. And he's like, Jix, I want you to go and capture Luke Skywalker for me.
Okay.
And Jix is like, okay. He's like, because Han Solo was taken by Boba Fett to Jabba the Hutt, undoubtedly his friends will go there. So what I want you to do, Jix, is I want you to infiltrate Jabba's swoop bike gang, previously never mentioned or referenced or existed before.
Yeah.
And I want you to join it and then keep tabs on what happens there. So that when Luke and his friends arrive, you can call me and I'll show up and collect him.
And if anyone ever tries to race you, be a real dick to them.
Yes, which he does. But he's also like, if anyone tries to race you, you gotta beat them. So hopefully you're good at this.
Right, because that's your cover. Is
Yeah.
that you are good at this.
Yeah.
And then Jax is like, what's a swoop bike?
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, I don't know what that
I
is.
doubt it'll be referenced again.
No. So the story is, so Jix's story, so here's Jix, a character that doesn't appear in the video game or the novel, who,
Yeah, I never heard of him.
and his journey is he goes to Tatooine and he joins the swoop bike gang. First he has to impress the swoop bike leader, whose name is Big Jizz.
What? What? No!
You can't do that.
You gotta be shitting me.
You can't call him that.
Well, it is.
Wow.
Big Jizz. Like, this isn't some weird pronunciation where you're reading it wrong.
It could be-
It's Big Jizz.
It could be Giz.
Oh, yeah. Gizz.
So if you're a fan of GIFs or GIFs, it depends on whether you pronounce it Giz or Jizz. But,
Alright, so that's weird. So you either have to pronounce it with the hard G or it's Biggiz.
yeah.
You're Big Giz.
Big
Because
Giz.
you have to have a
You
weird
take a
guttural
big
stop.
pregnant pause. Look, it's Big Giz! Here he comes.
Why are you saying his name so weird?
Because otherwise it's really terrible.
I don't know what you're talking about. What's wrong with Big Jizz? Oh, God! Oh,
No.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
So Big Jizz is impressed with Jix's ability to race swoop bikes. So
Okay.
he's like, what are you looking to do? And Jizz is like, I'm looking to work for the big man. So then Big Jizz takes Jix to Jabba. A lot of
so
G
many
sounds.
hard
Yeah, well,
G's.
God damn.
So,
Jeez,
and Jabba's like, okay, like, you're in.
Wait, that's it?
Well, no, he's like, you need to do some jobs for me first.
Oh, good, because
Of course.
I feel like Jabba's an employer.
Oh, yeah, no.
And like a scummy kind of employer, so he's not going to just hire someone right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, he does, but he's like, oh, there's
So
11...
Big Jizz vouched for him.
Yeah,
so
Big Jizz
that
vouched
means
for
a
him.
lot.
It
Yeah,
does.
and Jabba loves Big Jizz.
Yeah. So...
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
So the Alliance sends Luke to Tatooine because they're like, Leia and Lando are going to go hunt down Boba Fett
Why?
to get Han Solo back.
Oh, they don't know that he's taking him?
They know that he's taking him to Jabba the Hutt, but
They think he's
they're
going to take his time and they're going to intercept him?
they're gonna try.
Well, they're taking a
Okay.
Falcon. It's the fastest ship.
That's true.
Yeah, but in case they don't make it in time, they want Luke on Tatooine,
To grab him.
to grab him or to wait for them, like
Okay.
to give them recon.
Right.
So Luke takes up residence in Ben Kenobi's old hut.
Oh, cool.
And while he's there, he builds the lightsaber
new
that he
lightsaber,
uses in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Because that was never explained.
Yeah, he also takes... Actually, there's a deleted scene in Return of the Jedi in which he does build it.
Really?
Yeah, he builds it in like a cave.
Well, and Vader references it. He says, I see you have constructed one.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
you don't
I guess
really
that's what
need a
happens.
scene where he does it.
Yeah.
But in the scene where he does it, Luke explains that he also references some, expanded universe shit about how if you don't build... Part of the Jedi training is building your own lightsaber because they're really volatile, and if you build it incorrectly, they'll blow the fuck up and kill you.
Right.
So the Force allows you to build it correctly?
Yes.
Or is it engineering?
It's both. The Force influences your engineering skills. It adds like +5 to your engineering.
Well,
Well, there's
then I think
probably
we're all
like
set.
Yeah.
things that have to happen like simultaneously that you could only use.
Like you have to
if
hold
were,
the Force
like-
because you need a crystal in order to be placed in a certain way,
Right.
refracted and whatever.
And I mean, that thing is highly radioactive.
Well, it's probably so it has to be like aligned so precisely that like you could never do it unless
Yes.
the Force was guiding you. Much like you could never hit a
laser
exhaust
blast.
port,
Yeah,
But
it's
that's
like 2 meters
impossible.
wide.
He used to blast a Womp in his T-16 or
That's
whatever.
true.
with
it
the
was.
Force.
Yeah, but he used the Force. And
Yeah. It's much. The
He just
same.
assumed it was easy.
Yeah.
Wait, I never put that together.
Why
He
is
was
it
able
so
to
hard
blast
for you
them
to hit
because
those
he used the
Womp?
Force.
Yeah, he's like, I used to hit Womp Rats. That's really hard.
Yeah. What do you mean? Well, or like
Except also
that makes no sense.
That poor sandbag guy also was like, "What's a womp rat?"
Because then when he's practicing with a lightsaber, he's not using the Force at that point. He's getting zapped by that.
No, but then he concentrates. Yeah, but Luke was You mean like when he's training?
Yeah.
When Luke's training, he's getting zapped by it. But then when Obi-Wan's like concentrate and put this fucking helmet over,
then he
not concentrate, like trust your senses.
Well, yes, but when Luke is trying to shoot womp rats, he's probably guided by the Force in some way because he's like
implicitly.
Yeah, he's just because he's a Skywalker.
Yeah, but he's not closing his eyes while he's being like.
You don't need to close your eyes just to use the Force properly.
Yeah,
it's just a thing.
That's how he lets go of his senses and does things that are like impossible,
right?
Rather than just slightly better.
Yeah,
like hitting womp rats is difficult, but maybe if you're highly
but clearly,
skilled,
like Biggs could do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Luke goes to the hut. He builds his lightsaber, and none too soon because Jabba has just gotten word from Vader that Luke Skywalker needs to be executed.
Oh.
Which is contrary to Vader's actual plans, which is to capture and convert him.
Right.
This is because Prince Shizor, leader of the Black Sun criminal underworld organization, who is an alien we've never seen before and never will again, who is this weird green dude who has a biological agent in his skin that emits a pheromone that makes him irresistible to women. It helps him achieve, like negotiations and stuff. It makes him a more effective, like, criminal and smuggler because he can, like, seal the deal with his, with his clientele.
Right.
Yeah, but
it doesn't work.
Faces off against the man.
By the way, it's Shizor. He's, maybe he swings both ways. I don't know.
Oh, you're saying the pheromones will work on anyone?
I think it does.
Okay.
I don't remember if in the novel if it said it worked on men.
It doesn't say it works on men.
Because they're not going to make him...
In the comic book?
They're not going to deliberately be that.
Yeah, it's 1996.
Right.
It's not okay. But
look, it may be a galaxy far, far away, but we're still like fucking Republicans.
Yeah, what he doesn't do is use it on the Emperor when he meets with the Emperor. But it's hilarious because the Emperor is working with Shizor, and the Emperor's got it over on him anyway.
Right.
And Shizor's like, yes, I've convinced the Emperor to take on Black Sun because the idea being that the Emperor enlists Black Sun to hire out to rebuild the Death Star and to obfuscate the construction of the Death Star under other. Construction plans.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's like making a movie in an area that's going to be populated by a lot of people and calling it a different title.
Right.
Like it's not the secret Death Star plan operation. It's the secret.
It's the steam engine.
Yeah. It's it's Operation Blue Harvest on Endor.
Whatever.
So.
But then the Emperor's like, he was really cute. I'm gonna have to ask him after dinner.
I'll have to ask him out. Yes. I could. No. So, but it's hilarious because like. Vader's calling the Emperor, and he's like, the Emperor's like, I'm making deals with Shizor, and Vader goes, Shizor, but he's a bad guy. You shouldn't work with Shizor. And the Emperor's like, I've got my fingers in many pots. I've got lots of things going on. You don't understand my ridiculous.
I don't tell you everything.
Look, I don't have to tell you everything.
I have friends that you don't even know.
For example, Shizor. He's like, I don't like this one bit. And so Vader, like a jealous
bad guy.
Vader, like a jealous girlfriend, like follows him around, like he keeps it a secret. That's why he hires Jix because he doesn't trust Shizor, and he's right to do it because Shizor uses his private contracts to suss out a message into the criminal underworld that says Vader wants Luke dead, and he's doing this. Because this book needs to be ridiculously complicated, so that when Luke is killed and Vader is implicated, the Emperor will not trust or like Vader anymore. And then maybe he'll give Shizor a chance to shine. No, but by the way, Shizor's not interested in being a Jedi or using the Force. He just wants more power.
Okay.
So it's not like he just knows that Vader doesn't trust him, and he's like, rather than negotiate with Vader, I'd rather just get him out of the way. And the Emperor will just have him arrested or something. I don't know. He doesn't, no one has a plan that's really that far thought out.
Right.
Everyone's like about 2 steps behind their own plan.
Is the idea that the Emperor is trying to, show Vader that, I don't need you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, but,
I'm afraid you're going off the reservation.
Yes,
Well,
I think that's the idea.
You let Luke Skywalker escape last time.
Yeah, you failed,
What the
and
fuck,
he
man?
does in fact raise that. He's like, well, he says, if I were to, there's a line where he says, like, if I were to judge you by your deeds rather than your words, I'd think that you might not be interested in capturing Luke Skywalker.
Does he know that?
It's implied that he knows that Luke is his son.
Oh, okay.
But he's also implying that he might actually be in on Vader's plan to overthrow him.
Right. Because, like, you were supposed to just, if he wasn't going to turn, you were supposed to just kill him, which should be really easy, which something tells me you really didn't want to kill him.
Right. Last time I talked to you, you said he will join us or die.
Right.
And he didn't join you, but
and it ain't dead.
So...
What the fuck?
Yeah. So then we take a hard break on this Star Wars story and then focus on the Bounty Hunter Wars, in which Boba Fett got Han Solo and Carbonite. He's taking him to Jabba the Hutt, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, remember all those other bounty hunters in that scene in Empire who were also charged with catching Han Solo?
Yeah.
Well, it's hilarious because when Vader did that, he's like, "You'll all go find Han Solo." And then Vader finds Han Solo and then hands him to Boba Fett. He's like, well, here you go.
Well, Boba Fett followed him.
He did follow him. He did track him first
Vader
and then called Vader. And then Vader's like, okay.
Fine, you get the bounty.
Exactly, you can keep it because I don't need money. I make it. So
they still think that they can get the bounty if they steal Han.
If they steal Han from Boba Fett, yeah. So all the bounty hunters, because they all know that Boba Fett's the best ever, team up to steal Han from him.
Really?
Yes, but before they do that, by the way, the rebels had no hope of catching Boba Fett before he reached Tatooine, because he immediately arrives. But IG-88 is there waiting for him, and so Boba Fett and IG-88 are involved in a big space battle, wherein IG-88 really damages Slave One, his ship. But, of course, Boba Fett, ultimately wins the day and destroys him. Right. Or so we think.
I like the fact that IG-88 is like, I'm just going to go to the finish line. And
That's right! Yeah. That's exactly what he does.
I've deduced that someone will capture him. I'm going to be here to steal him.
Yes. Or he hears that Boba Fett got him. Like, he's just, he's listening in on the broadband or whatever.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely possible.
But, anyway, Boba Fett defeats him, but his ship is so effed up, and he's like, if IG-88 thought to wait for me on Tatooine, there's probably a lot more bounty hunters waiting for me down there.
Right.
So I'm leaving, and he goes to this planet called Gaul, where he's going to get repairs.
Okay.
And when he goes there, his ship's being repaired, and while he's like at some lounge or some bar hanging out,
knocking him back.
Yeah, the other bounty hunters show up, and they're like, "So we're thinking maybe we should work out a deal." And Boba Fett's like, "Why?"
Right.
Because you didn't do shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, so I do all the work, and then you show up and then take my money. No, I'm thinking no.
Yeah.
And so then Boba Fett tries to leave, and the rebels, by the way, are chasing Boba Fett, so they go to Gaul, but the Empire knows that they're there, so the Empire shows up. And then the rebels and the Empire are all effed up, and they're fighting, and that allows Boba Fett to escape. So they just barely catch, Boba Fett. By the way, the rebels know about the tip of Boba Fett being on Gaul from their new Han Solo character named Dash Rendar, who they invent to, supply the character.
Who
of
also
Han Solo.
has a cool, distinct ship.
Yep, called the Outrider.
And looks very similar, distinct
pod
from...
It has a pod sticking off to the side that you fly from there, so it is completely impractical. Yeah. Dash Rendar, I will say, while he is a plucky pirate with a heart of gold, he also doesn't want to fight for the rebellion.
Right.
And so he doesn't. When he takes them to Boba Fett, he goes, "Okay, you've got Boba Fett," and then he leaves. And they're like, "Hey, weren't you going to stay and help us?" And he's like, "No. You paid me for finding him, and you can have him." And then he leaves, and then the Empire attacks.
I'm not getting caught up in your war. See, I'm going to do the thing that
Han Solo
said he was going to do, but didn't.
Yeah. I don't suppose you have a pretty girl for me on your team. No?
Well, there's this guy named Luke.
Nope. I'm not Shizor.
You're both blonde. I don't know.
Yeah. We got Mon Mothma might be single. I don't know.
Wait, Shizor is hitting up Leia?
Oh yes. You see,
how could she possibly resist him?
That's right.
It's like the Green Goblin.
No, it's not.
God.
He is like a Green Goblin.
Yeah, he's green.
When Boba Fett rebuffs their advances, the bounty hunters then board Bossk's ship, the Hound's Tooth, and then they attack him.
In space, how do they know what a hound is?
What do you mean? Oh, you mean like it's in the Star Wars universe?
Yeah.
There's like probably dogs and stuff. How do they know what hell is or what words are? I mean, when you pull that thread, the sweater's going to come apart.
Yeah, we're just the language they're speaking. We're just seeing the English
Yeah,
translation.
yeah, we're seeing the allegories,
which is called Basic, actually.
That's right. It's not actually English. It's called Basic.
It's called Basic.
By the way, it wasn't that they all just get on Bosk's ship and attack. In fact, a couple of bounty hunters were on Slave One trying to dismantle the carbonite fixture that Boba Fett had attached, and Boba Fett kills one of them and destroys Zuckuss's droid bounty hunter Forlom, and then he leaves. But Forlom is a droid,
right?
And so he fixes himself and then tries to take over.
Nobody can actually be killed because IG-88 isn't actually destroyed.
No,
Forlom isn't actually.
Well, he kills two bounty hunters in this scene. One of them is like Furlong or something.
One of them is one you never saw before.
Yep, one is one you never saw before. It was like a Mon Calamari, and he dies.
Yeah.
And the other one's Furlag. It's Furlag.
Furlag.
So Furlag is
he's a giant bat creature.
He's a giant bat creature.
He's a bat.
He's a bat.
Pretty much a bat.
Yep.
And
he's kind of a mix between a bat and a predator.
And he gets he gets the drop on Fett.
Yeah.
In his own ship, and Fett drops the ground out from under him, and he gets sucked out of the airlock.
This is everyone's problem, and why Han is great.
Yeah.
He shot first, and no one else does.
That's right.
You get the jump on Boba Fett, you shoot him.
You shoot him. But he's also wearing Mandalorian space armor, so he's pretty protected.
Fine, hit a joint, but do something.
Don't
Don't just threaten him.
He did.
I think
it would have messed him up.
Yeah.
Or at least disoriented him enough for you to shoot him a lot.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
In any case, Furlag is... Exeunt Furlag from the story. So, Boba Fett, is awesome and cool and rad, and then he escapes, much to the chagrin of Bosk.
Yeah.
So then Shizor comes up with this bright idea to gain the rebels' favor by giving them plans to the second Death Star.
Wait, the plans changed?
Well, yeah. The second Death Star is much bigger than the original Death Star.
Well, you can't tell because there's no scale.
Yeah. Also, there's no
it's more powerful.
Yep, and there's no exhaust port they can blow up.
Yeah.
Now there's a huge area where ships can get in.
Well, it's because it's not.
It's not done. So
that hole would be plugged.
There would be no hole.
Yeah, with stormtroopers, it'd be just stuff with stormtroopers. So Shizor, but it's all planned. You see, Shizor's like, I'm going to gain favor with the rebels, and then I'll lure them in, and then you can strike. Mm-hmm. And the Emperor's like, ooh, I like this plan. It's very complicated and stupid. And Vader's like, don't give them the plans of the Death Star. They blow it the fuck up. They blew it out. I don't know if you fucking paid the tab for that thing, but it blew up. And,
but they had the plans the first time.
Yeah, no.
Well, why don't they just give them fake plans?
Right? Yeah. But no, because...
they'll know.
They didn't know
they
have
the
building
Force.
A second
They'll
Death
tell.
Star.
Oh, so he'd tell them just that
he's
it's
giving them,
happening.
Yeah, they're building a second Death Star, and here's the plans.
Oh, I see.
And Shizor's like, that's how we'll do this. And their contact is Shizor's humanoid droid.
Okay.
Like it's like a fucking replicant.
Okay.
Named Guri or Juri, depending on your pronunciation.
Okay.
And she's like, okay, so I'll take you to Black Sun, which is, I think, on Coruscant.
Okay.
And she's like, and I'll hide you from the Empire, so you can make a deal with Shizor.
Okay.
And in order to get past security, she disguises them as bounty hunters. Right. This is Leia, and she's going to go by herself, but Chewie insists because Han told him to take care of her right before he was frozen. So Chewie is Leia's protector. Mm-hmm. So apparently there was a Wookiee bounty hunter named Snuva.
Snuva.
They dye his fur and give him a crew cut
and an eye thing.
Yep, and an eye enhancement that makes him look like he's from the future. and
all these belts.
And all these belts. And Leia gets the Boushh bounty hunter costume. And the idea here being that Boushh tried to renege on a deal, or he tried to, double cross Black Sun, and they killed him, and I guess kept his outfit.
Yeah. And in case they might need to put someone
in it
undercover.
Yeah.
So and apparently Boushh was very slight.
Yes.
Boushh was always a bounty hunter.
Very womanly.
Yes. Boushh was a real
bounty hunter that Leia pretended to be.
Yeah.
Yep. So
that's why it works. That's why it fools Jabba.
yes,
It's like it's Boosh.
it's Boosh.
Yeah.
See, I assume that
My
any
old
bounty
friend,
hunter,
Boosh.
you could just create any bounty hunter and be like, you put him in a costume and be like, yeah, he's a bounty
I'm
hunter.
He's a bounty hunter. He looks cool.
I'm a new bounty hunter. You've never heard of me.
I'm Furlog.
I don't know if I buy that bat creature.
That
you
predator.
can't just get into Jabba's palace.
No.
You gotta know somebody.
Yes,
Like,
and if you look like a bounty hunter that Jabba's worked with, then
Right.
you probably get in.
Yeah.
Also, it's probably
Or
not.
if you're, green and you have tentacles on your head.
It doesn't look like it's that hard to get into Jabba's palace.
Well, you gotta have.
you got to
some-
get past the door.
Yeah, you gotta get past the eye thing.
Yep, and Bib Fortuna.
And Bib Fortuna.
But then once you get through, you get to have the slumber parties, and you can
Eat slugs out of the water.
and
Yeah.
dance with the girls in the
the
special
Twi'leks.
edition.
or
and-
bugs or whatever the hell that is.
So forth.
You could dance with Cy Snoodles.
He doesn't dance. Oh no, she does dance.
She
That's
kind of
right.
in the original one. She just rocks back and forth because
Yeah.
that puppet was really stilted. But
And you can watch things get eaten by a rancor.
yeah, oh my god, you get to bet on how fast they'll take for the Rancor to kill.
See, I really want to see a rancor battle. I would love that.
Well, you should play The Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of those.
You get to watch them.
Well, like you
no,
get to fight
you
them.
fight them. Actually,
Well, exactly. I want to be there, and I want to see.
You-
things
oh, you
go
would
against
like
the
to-
them
rancor.
like tear each other apart.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
like a
a
cockfighting
dogfight?
or a dogfight.
I wasn't thinking like that. Like
New
not
monster.
two rancors fight each other.
Oh,
I mean, I could
something lesser,
potentially
something
do that.
more,
Yeah,
more.
so that the
huge.
rancor wins most of the time. But it's how long?
like a Gamorrean,
Oh, you want to see a rancor eat a person?
Yes,
or a sentient life.
Well,
form.
you saw that. Yeah, he ate.
He ate a Gamorrean guard. He ate
Gamorrean.
Ula.
but I wasn't
Ula.
there.
Oh, but you want to see it in person,
Right, I
want
see.
to.
You wanna
That'd be
a
cool.
Spectator.
I will say, I mean, if I was stuck in that universe, it'd be that wouldn't be the last thing I'd want to do.
What would be the last thing? You know what? Never
It's
mind.
kind of horrible.
I mean, probably like give Jabba a
Yeah,
bath.
don't. Ooh.
It's not like
The
burning
last-
ants on the sidewalk. He eats like sentient creatures.
Yeah, they had like families.
yeah, that Gamorrean.
I mean, hell,
man.
even the Rancor makes people cry.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah,
Rancor
even-
Wrangler.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Anyway. Come on. God comforts him.
It's all right.
What a weird fucking scene.
Yeah. First, let's have the Rancor be like,
Let's make him make a sad
Yeah,
dog
let's make
sound.
him whine.
And then let's give him a fucking parent or friend. Let's give him someone to miss him. Christ, you
And then give
Luke,
that person a
first
friend.
of all, he was gonna kill our protagonist.
Yeah.
We should hate him. Luke uses the skull of presumably another sentient being that he killed to win, and then we feel bad for
isn't
it.
it a rock?
It's a skull.
I thought it was a rock.
It
I
is
think it's
not a rock.
Tells the
I know he
below.
picks
It's
up
the
a
skull
bone.
rock.
That's
He
it.
does use a bone to
He
put
is-
in the guy's mouth.
It's a skull.
I don't know. I'm gonna watch it again.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see what happens there. So.
You're holding a mutant turd.
So, Leia and Chewie go to, like, negotiate with Shizor, and Shizor literally just uses the entire opportunity to try and bang Princess Leia. Like, he says maybe, like, one or two things about working with them, and he's like, yes, the Rebels and Black Sun should work together. And that's the whole conversation they have before she's like, oh my god, I'm feeling flush and hot and bothered. And then they start like making out, and then Chewie fucking shows up and he's like, hey! What are you doing?
Yeah.
You're
I'll rip your arms off.
yeah, I'll rip them and beat you to death with them.
Yeah.
I don't care if this isn't battle chess.
Yeah. So hollow chest. So
Whatever.
Luke Luke he's working with like the Bothans to try and not get killed by everybody.
I thought the Bothans had already died to bring
They
them that
die
information.
here. This is where the 12 Bothans die. Or many. Like Koth.
Okay, 12 is not many.
I agree. Luke gets taken by like a ship full of fish-looking mercenaries. Mm-hmm. And while Luke is under guard, he starts to train more in the Force.
Okay.
His first step of his training was building his lightsaber, which he does.
Right.
The mercenaries kill Koth and the Bothans and capture Luke and take his lightsaber away and then leave it on a table.
Okay.
Luke is put into his cell and he starts to like meditate, and he I think like Obi-Wan even like now Obi-Wan doesn't talk to him. But he starts to use the Force to influence the mind of his guard. To open the door and then get in his cell and go to sleep.
Okay.
And Luke's like, all right, this is working out.
Nice. I'm a Jedi.
I'm a fucking Jedi. Round 2, Lord Darth Vader.
I can get into Jabba's palace.
Yes,
Yeah.
maybe I'll do this later. So he takes but it's one of the coolest moments for Luke Skywalker ever, because he's taken, he sees his lightsaber across the hall, and one of those, fish mercenaries has their blaster up against his head, and he's like, hey! And Luke uses the Force, and then turns it on right here. And,
oh, fuck!
displaces his head with the blade.
Yes.
Just boosh, and it's fucking awesome.
That is awesome.
And I remember being like, whoa! This book rocks!
Yeah. He just...
I mean, that's
he
the
just
same as...
slaughtered that creature.
He slaughtered that guy!
It's the exact same thing as putting a blaster to someone's head and pulling the trigger.
Yeah! Yeah.
So, the guy had it coming.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Oh, yeah. So,
He cut this guy in half.
and I remember thinking, this is pretty dark, and then I remembered it was a Dark Horse book where they don't have the comics code, so they could legitimately put, gore and cursing and sex.
Yeah, there's
But
blood.
they don't, because it's Star Wars.
They're aliens.
Yeah, it's okay. But they have red
There's
blood,
there's a little blood, yeah.
Yeah. So then, Luke's about to lose, and then Lando shows up and, frees him.
Oh.
And Lando gives him an X-Wing, and they leave.
Oh. Okay.
And they're like, so what's going on with Leia? Leia's where? And they're like, Leia's at Black Sun. He's like, well, I don't like this.
Yeah, she's getting macked on.
Yeah. So then...
in the scene where he seduces Leia, do they show that his outfit is see-through? Because I remember in the book...
it is see-through.
It's see-through.
They do not. They do not make it see-through. But...
Thank God. Also, he's no longer green?
no, his skin color changes as he uses his pheromones.
Yeah. So he becomes yeah.
Oh.
He does come off a field.
He's like
I feel like
reptilian.
that's-
yeah.
He's like a chameleon.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a huge giveaway. If someone starts
It is.
seeing his skin color, like, hey,
You're trying to bang me!
Yeah, but she's under his spell, so...
you're trying to bang me!
Yeah.
Let's do it!
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
How come Chewie isn't all turned on and shit?
he's not focusing on Chewie.
Because he just breaks in for a second. He's not...
Yeah.
He hasn't been there long enough for...
What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Why am I suddenly horny?
Yeah. Let's do this!
Take your head clean off, man.
That's right. Wookie dicks. So, Shizor's like, you can... I have you now, so you can go.
Right.
You'll be
He'll
back.
come back. Yeah.
And it's cool because Vader is tracking the wave of destruction that Luke leaves every time he goes someplace, and Luke's like, okay, so what happened? And they're like, Luke Skywalker, or this dude, the lightsaber, blah, and Vader's like, okay, so you captured him, and then what were you gonna do? And they're like, well, we're gonna kill him because, and he's like, well, who told you to do that? And they're like, well, technically you did. And he's like, ooh. And then there's a line where he says, so he doesn't attempt to just try to kill my son. He intends to implicate me in the deed. Such treachery. He's a little proud of him. Such treachery. Ooh, what a scamp. So
That's not very Vader.
no, it's hilarious. So then the pheromones wear off because Leia's aware of it.
Okay.
And she keeps her distance. And I guess once she's aware of it, she's immune, because eventually he just tries it full force, and she's like, oh, no, you don't. Because he's like, hey, you should take off all your clothes. And so she starts to take off, one part of her outfit, and then...
She's waiting for Chewie.
She's waiting for Chewie to, who's being attacked by Black Sun guards who look ridiculous. These insanely dressed.
They look like Mysterios.
Yeah, they are hilarious. I love them. So she's waits for him, and then she escapes, and she and Chewie are on the run. And, meanwhile, Boba Fett, remember Boba Fett and his whole thing.
Book.
He's still in this book, and he's being, tormented by Bosk. And also, of course,
Tormented by Bosk.
Yeah,
Bosk is hounding him.
Bosk is still hounding him in the Houndstooth. Maybe it's that it's not named after a dog; it's named after the word hounding.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the pattern, the houndstooth.
Yes.
That's a pattern of hounding.
It is.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not. It doesn't look like that. So
he's got Zuckuss.
He's got Zuckuss
in a cage.
Yeah, that's his
His
brig.
Oh.
It looks like a go-go.
Thank God you said that, because if you were going to be like, that's a sex cage.
That's his. Now Zuckuss has to take his clothes off.
Because of Boba Fett's pheromone.
Yeah, which is also called a blaster pistol. My pheromones are starting to kick in. So, yeah.
You want to be famous, don't you?
Boba Fett's basically trying to, get information, what's Bosk's next move? Yeah. What's he going to do? Bosk's next move, by the way, is to go to Tatooine and take Han Solo away from him. So it's like,
right.
You didn't need him. But whatever.
Right.
So, the Boba Fett plot line basically wraps up in a really dumb way where Boba Fett creates...
Where?
Boba Fett he creates a subterfuge in which he's just trying to... in which Slave One lands, and then he just tries to make a break for it to Jabba's palace. Because once he gets there...
Mm-hmm.
It's his?
It's his. Like, they can't stop him or
it's
something.
like the finish line.
Yeah, it's like the finish line.
Why doesn't he just
Jabba
hail
will
Jabba
protect
and
him
be like,
or
hey,
whatever.
I have him?
Tell these fucking guys to not go. No, because
he's not under Hutt jurisdiction.
No, because Jabba doesn't want Boba Fett to win.
Oh.
Because Boba Fett's rates are exorbitant.
Oh.
So, in fact, when Fett arrives, Jabba's like, oh shit, he made it. Because he's heard about the bounty hunter shit. And he goes, stop him. Like, don't let him get here. So then Jabba's people start attacking. Boba...
Oh yeah, because they're going to win.
Well, at the scene where Jix fights a Triceratops monster.
Yeah. Well, Jix basically calls Vader and says, like, Jabba's orders came from you, technically. And a Triceratops monster hears him, and, Jix kills him.
Because, otherwise, it's, the jig is up.
By the way, Luke gets off of Tatooine. He gets chased by the swoop bike gang. When he first leaves, before he gets captured by mercenaries. Luke's like, shit, I gotta leave, because the swoop bike gang arrives right when Luke fixes his lightsaber.
At what point is Dash Rendar racing the swoop bike gang? Because
Dash shows up, because
Because I know that happens in the game.
Yeah, because Leia goes to Black Sun. She's like, Dash, we're going to hire you to protect Luke because we hear that there's a bounty for him.
And apparently that's the only way he'll help us.
Yeah. So Dash does. So he's like, cool, I have my own swoop bike for no reason.
Yeah, now I'm back in the book.
So now I'm in the book.
I don't know if you realize this, but I'm a swoop bike enthusiast.
Yes.
I work on them in my spare time.
Yeah, they are in my Outrider. So, Dash winds up protecting Luke. And Luke winds up taking the swoop bike gang through, Beggar's Canyon, and he does all the things that he did back when he used to race T-16s. And,
that's cool.
Yeah. So Dash and Luke escape, but thanks to the help of Jix, who winds up sabotaging Big Jizz. He fucks him up.
Okay.
Because Big Jizz is going to get him.
Oh.
Actually, what he winds up doing is, Jix winds up intentionally crashing his swoop bike into Big Jizz's swoop bike. And then the both of them crash. But then, as Luke and Dash are getting their bearings, Big Jizz is going to shoot him with his blaster.
Every time you say it, I just crack up.
Don't worry, because this is the end. And then and then Jix just kills him.
Oh.
And, he breaks his leg in the process, so he's like, I made it. I protected Luke because Vader wants him alive.
Okay.
Right.
And anyone who saw me fuck up is dead. And so Jix just leaves. And then you never see him again.
Okay.
Boba Fett dresses Zuckuss in a spare Boba Fett costume and, puts, a gurney in front of him and then just makes him, run out of there.
Oh.
And so Bosk and the Jabba people all converge on what they think is Boba Fett and Han Solo and Carbonite. And Boba Fett and Han Solo just go in the back door. And that's the end. And
Zuckuss is not immediately killed?
No, because Bosk wants him alive, so he could see him lose or whatever. And
so I can finally take off that mask and see his beautiful face.
And then
what
is all this with Luke another garbage monster?
Well, Luke and that's how we find out the name of the garbage monster is a Dianica.
Oh,
but Lando, Leia, 3PO, and R2 use the Millennium Falcon to infiltrate Coruscant and sneak into Black Sun, and Luke and Dash sneak into Black Sun through the sewers.
And what are they trying to do?
They're trying to get Leia back.
Oh, because Leia's still trapped.
Yes, she's now Black Sun's prisoner.
Oh,
I remember that sneaking in mission.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, there's a little bit of overlap. Chewie also gets out.
Were an asshole.
Because the idea is that Chewie escapes capture. He doesn't get Leia out, but he does escape.
Okay.
And he tells his friends, "Hey, they got Leia, and Black Sun ain't on the up and up."
Right.
And they got Leia because, like, now she's aware of his pheromones, so
yes.
he's captured her instead of trying to seduce her.
Exactly. Yeah. So it all converges on Black Sun on, like, on Shizor's palace, in which they leave the keys to the Millennium Falcon with 3PO.
That seems like a bad idea.
So 3PO barely... Oh, no! And hilarity ensues, as 3PO hilariously tries to lose the security detail that's chasing him as the rebellion goes to capture or to reacquire Leia. They're at a standstill. They get Leia back, and Lando gets a thermal detonator and puts it on a dead hand switch or dead man switch.
Yeah,
and he's like, if you guys shoot me, I'll drop it.
Oh,
and then they're like, okay, and then Lando puts it onto a timer and then throws it into the garbage chute.
Okay.
And then Shizor's like, crap, go get it. And his guards are like, bye. And they quit and leave.
No! It's a thermal detonator!
Yeah, I'm getting the hell out of here. So then the rebels are like, no, look at the last moment where freaking Lando's like, that was amazing. It kept so great. And then Luke's like, yeah, we have 5 minutes to live as well. Like, we have to run just as fast as the rest of them. So 3PO barely lands the Millennium Falcon. They all board the Millennium Falcon. And then the Empire shows up, and Shizor's forces show up.
Oh.
And Shizor goes to his other fortress, which is a skyhook, like, space station.
Oh.
And, he goes there.
And then is there a big three-way fight?
And then there's a big three-way fight, like in the book, and not in the... No, and in the video game. Where it's the coolest fight that I thought I'd ever see in a Star Wars movie, in which Shizor's forces are fighting the Rebels, and the Empire is fighting the Rebels and Shizor's forces. And the Rebels are trying not to die.
Right.
And it's amazing because Rogue Squadron shows up and they defend everybody, and Dash Rendar gets into the Outrider, and even he lends a hand. And
because it's his ass.
Because it's his ass, and he's like, I gotta get out of here and get paid.
Right.
And then, actually Vader gets the authority, or no, he just decides, because they're like, because he calls Shizor and he's like, I know it was you, Fredo.
I know it was you.
And then he kisses him. No, he just says, like, I know it was you.
Broke my heart.
And since I'm technically, like, the law here, I say, you die. And then up and fire on the skyhook and destroy him. And there's a better line, I think it's in the book, in which he says, no, is it in here? Where he says, you've done it now, Shizor. And he says, it's Prince Shizor. And he says, very well, you may keep your title for 2 more minutes. And then annihilates him.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And then as the skyhook is destroyed, the rebels are like, shit, look at all that debris. Let's escape through it.
Right.
So then this is where their skill comes in. They all have to avoid all the debris.
Right.
But Dash Rendar does not, and he blows up. And Dash Rendar literally gets 2 panels. They say, look out, Dash! And then he dies. And then they say, oh, too bad. Like, that's too bad.
He almost made it, too.
Yeah, he almost made it.
You don't even get to see... You see the ship, and then see...
a flash.
Them looking away from a bright flash.
Yep.
That was him jumping into hyperspace, because Dash Rendar does not die!
That's right! And in the video game, we get more information, where if you beat the game, they tell you that he actually jettisoned an escape pod into some debris, and jumped into Lightspeed at the same time, and then used that opportunity to fade away. To retire.
Right. Because the Empire would have been after it.
Exactly. And he's like, no,
But then he also doesn't get paid, which sucks.
Yeah, but he got paid for the other jobs.
Yeah. So, as I recall in the book, I can't remember in the book if it... I think it's ambiguous as to whether or not
it is ambiguous whether he dies, but in the video game they tell you for certain
that he...
Because you're that character!
Because you're Dash Rendar!
Like, no, congratulations, you won the game!
And then you die. So it's like every Call of Duty game. So... Yeah, and by the way, the Boba Fett plot ends the book. The book ends with Boba Fett, and it's hilarious because Jabba, he just pretends like he never fucked over Fett.
Yeah,
and he's like,
"Oh, welcome, thank you so much.
Oh, wonderful!" And he's also like, maybe you should stick around and be like my personal security detail. So that's why Boba Fett's still there in Return of the Jedi. And the last
my daily rate is exorbitant.
Yeah, one of the last lines of Bossk as Boba Fett is like,
"Curse Fett."
He's sauntering out. He's pimping out of the fucking palace, and he goes, "Curse Fett." He thinks he's real smart, and then Zucka says, "He is real smart, Bosk. That's why he's the best. And you're like, oh my god.
Damn
I'm
it.
self-indulgent. Yeah, Boba Fett, coolest thing ever. Yep.
Alright. And then you get the last panel
Is of the...
or second to last panel.
Yeah, is of the second Death Star being constructed. And Vader's saying, like, well, none of that matters, because one day Luke will be mine. The end.
The end. So they don't actually set up
Anything.
Return of the Jedi at all, except for explaining how Leia gets her Boosh costume. But they
Yeah.
don't explain how Lando infiltrates Jabba's palace.
Oh, no.
Nope.
No, but they do show you how Luke gets his lightsaber.
They do, yeah, that's true. So
And-
I
But
guess
apparently
you see-
they already showed that in the deleted scene of Jedi.
Yeah,
Yes.
so they reveal, like, two things, kind of.
Yeah, it's just more like another adventure,
Yeah.
and it's not like years later or whatever. So it's so you can have your cake and eat it too. It's funny also because you were talking about how we never saw this in anything besides every other multimedia
Yeah, we
version.
never get the movie, the animated movie. or whatever.
The writer, the author, Steve Perry, he actually writes a foreword to this comic, and he says, like, unfortunately, everybody's too old to be and for them to make a movie.
Right.
He goes, but maybe they'll make an animated movie,
Yeah, right.
and that was in 1996. So no,
Maybe I can convince Lucasfilm to do it in animation?
nope, no. How about this? How about this? How about we erase it from ever existing?
Yeah. How about that, Steve Perry?
Did they actually do that?
Yeah.
Because after Disney acquired Star Wars, they said all the expanded universe stuff is garbage. Just throw it all out. We're
not
starting
canon
over. It's
anymore.
not canon anymore. So everything that happened. So the only things that
Because
are
they didn't
canon.
want to be, like, burdened, I guess.
Yeah.
by-
Well, they didn't want to. Well, they didn't have to hire somebody to like fucking remember all that.
Yeah,
crap.
they didn't want J.J. Abrams to have to read all that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. They also. They wanted them to start at a clean slate and do their own thing.
Yeah.
Shadows of the Empire, the lost Star Wars movie back in 1996.
I like that we all had something insightful about this. Like we all
All
had a
knew
different
about
aspect.
it.
Yes,
Kind of,
yes.
yeah.
Each of us had a different aspect from this one story.
I think this is one of the first times that's happened.
Yeah, yeah. First for everything. All before the 100th episode.
But hey, it doesn't matter anymore because it's not in the canon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So whatever. But yeah,
Garbage.
Might as well just wipe your ass with this.
yeah. Thanks a lot for
Don't
watching,
do that.
everybody. We'll see you guys next time with an all-new episode of Back Issues. I am Sal.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Ben.
May the Force be with you.
I'm not saying.